Welcome, everybody. My name is Micah, and I'm joining you from beautiful Whidbey Island, Washington. I'm a life coach. I specialize in narcissistic, emotional, and psychological abuse recovery. I'm also a personal trainer, a self-defense instructor, health coach, nutritionist, and yoga teacher. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the links down in the description box below to check out both of our websites. People are always asking me, how did I get into all of these things? Well, let's get into that. After I was born in India, I was left on the doorstep of an adoption clinic. At 8 months old, I was adopted into the United States. Being left on that doorstep created a lot of abandonment trauma. We'll touch on that a little bit later. My adoptive parents divorced at age 3. The father stepped out of the picture by age of 6. My mother raised me by herself. Growing up in school was hard. I was picked on, I was bullied, I was outcast because I was adopted. I was different from everybody else. This didn't stop me. I tried my hand at the sports that everybody else was playing: football, basketball, soccer, baseball. I ended up being really good at free running or parkour, just movement through an environment. After being picked on and bullied for quite some time, my mom decided it's time for you to learn martial arts. Thus started the love of martial arts. I started with Taekwondo and expanded into various other styles. Martial arts also started my fitness journey. So from here, I started working out. I started building my body. I was using calisthenics and combined with weight and resistance training. At the age of 19, I joined the United States Navy. Soon after, I got married and I moved to California. And there I continued my training. But then I encountered a problem. My friend and I had been walking to the gas station, and we got jumped. While trying to escape, they hurt my friend, and he was unconscious. So I went back, and I fought off both of the attackers at the same time. The charges were eventually dropped because there was no evidence of a crime. Saving somebody's life is not a crime. That is how I ended up here in beautiful Whidbey Island, Washington. My marriage started to get rocky. Things started to fall apart. The hard part is I had a newborn at the same time. During the separation, I started dating somebody else. After a few months of dating, severe depression overtook her. She then took her life. She died in front of me, in my arms. After healing from that traumatic event, I tried my hand at dating again. Little did I know that the people that I would be dating would cheat on me in succession. I didn't realize what was actually happening at the time. It wasn't until more recently that I figured it out. After a relationship of 3 years fell apart, I gave it another 8 months and I started dating again. This is where I was still blind and I didn't recognize the pattern of narcissistic abuse. I went through the stages of love bomb, devalue, and discard. She cheated on me and she left me for somebody else. But I stayed and I tried to change myself and fix everything and fix her and explain things and apologize, and nothing worked. The theme was I was not good enough. That's the way she made me feel, and that's the way she expressed herself to me. I took that negative energy and I applied it to myself. Self-love, self-care. I got certified as a personal trainer, as a life coach, nutritionist, health coach. I got my strength and conditioning certification. And maybe deep down I was trying to prove to her that I could be better than anything, and prove to her that I could be the best and that she'd want me back. But eventually I set that aside and I said, wait a minute. I'm amazing and I can do this and I don't need that. And it took me a while to realize my self-worth, to look at the pattern of behavior that I had been, continuously letting happen in previous relationships. From there, I was on a mission to tell the truth and to expose the lie. After taking the time to heal, to introspect, to look at myself, and to figure out what I needed to do, I created a narc abuse recovery program. I operate a support group here in town for victims like myself, now survivor. I have many more life experiences, highly traumatic. Some are from childhood, some are from adulthood, but they all give me experience, and I've taken the time to think about them and learn from them, to try to not let them repeat. Over the years, I've been an on and on recovering alcoholic. I don't drink anymore. That was my coping mechanism, alcohol, and I had to give it up. As a health coach and yoga practitioner and teacher, it's important to me to have a healthy body, a healthy life, and a healthy mind. I try to stay physically in shape, mentally in shape, and spiritually in shape. The one thing that I'll say, and probably one of the most important things that I feel is important to me, is I had to make a lot of mistakes. I had to keep making mistakes to see where I was making mistakes. And because I made those mistakes, I was able to learn from it. And now, I'd like to pass the torch over to friend and fellow life coach, Cornelia.
Hello and welcome to our show. I'm Cornelia and I'm a member of the International Coaching Federation, so as you can already guess, I'm also a life coach. I work mostly with leaders and teenagers, but also with anyone who wants to find happiness in life. I enjoy working with leaders because they have a sharp mind, they are trendsetters, and also they are building the future. And with teenagers, of course, I love working with them because they are the future, and I think we have to take care of our future. In regards to the ones in search of happiness, they are the most interesting people in the world, and I love working with them. I'm working with people ever since I was in college, where I studied children psychopedagogy. And then the fate brought me into the journalistic world, where it was a very good fit for me because I love writing and reading. And coming into the journalistic world, I have discovered politics, and I fell in love with politics as well. I think I take the love for reading and writing from my great-grandfather, who was a writer, but he was also a politician, so maybe I'm taking this from him as well. After many years of journalism, I moved into the public relation area, where I became a manager for institutions or politicians, so I was working directly with them to send and bring good messages in the communities. And I try to do my share every time to improve the life of the community close to me. And after another few years, I have become a personal advisor for politicians and also for artists like actors and musicians. Although I'm a pretty private person, I have to tell you that a few things about myself. I love, as I was saying, reading and writing. I'm passionate about books. I have thousands of books. As you've probably already noticed, my accent is European. I live in Romania, which is my home country, but I also have an adoptive country, which is Denmark. My daughter was born in Denmark and she grew up there until now when she's 10 years old. I will probably always be back and forth Denmark and Romania, and that's because the two countries together are bringing me a lot of balance, being so different. I also love dogs. I've always had dogs in my life. I cannot see my life without a dog. They are family members, and right now we have a chocolate Labrador called Tommy. Unfortunately, we lost our dearest dog, Oliver. He was a great beagle. We lost him last year. Among my greatest passions, or let's say the thing I'm spending most of my money on, it's antiques. I love antiques. I love everything that it's old. Anything from old books to old objects that have a history and can bring some emotion into our modern lives. Talking about topics in our podcast, the main topic is gonna be life. Life with its joys and sorrows, with its challenges and accomplishments, and with its normal things. Maybe many of you remember to celebrate the normal life that we have. And that's something me and Micah really want to do in this podcast, celebrate life. Even if it's, if we are talking about really painful things like narcissistic abuse or toxic relationships or toxic childhood and so on. Or if we talk about great people who changed or shaped our lives in a way or another, or I don't know, great accomplishments. So all of these are in the same soup, which is called life. And both me and Micah, we love life, and we love and embrace everything that comes with. Like many of us, my life wasn't easy, but I don't like to talk about it. I'm such a private person, and this is my first time when I'm in front of camera. I'm usually behind it. So, being such a private person, I don't like to share too much about my life, but at the same time, I have to tell you that I've been through a narcissistic marriage at one point, and it's been hell for me. During that marriage and after it, I have developed a really bad generalized anxiety. And you're gonna find a lot of tips for getting over anxiety in this podcast, because if you have the right mindset, you can get over it. In this podcast, we're going to talk a lot about what a life coach is. Life coach is a relatively new profession, and I want to talk about it and spread some awareness about it, because unfortunately there are so many people waking up in the morning saying that they want to be a life coach, and it doesn't work like this really. Being a life coach means so many things, and first of all it's learning and studying a lot and becoming certified. There are some institutions that are internationally approved, and that's where you have to become certified. You cannot be a life coach without any certification, and that's because you have to learn the rules and the manners you work with the client. At the same time, you have to understand two of the main things of life coaching. One of them is being a very good listener, and the other one is asking the right questions. If you don't ask the right questions, you will never get the right answer, and the client will never get to a breakthrough. So, if you start to advise people regarding what they should or should not do, it doesn't make you a life coach. A life coach is not a certified life coach is not allowed to advise the client. You only have to ask the right questions. I really hope you will join us, and you will like and subscribe our channel, and we're looking forward to the next episodes.